I'll show how to add a vertical reference line to a histogram in Tableau. In this example, I'll use a histogram of order to delivery times, and I'll add a line to mark the average. Since this histogram will use bins of the order to delivery time, I'll start by taking the delivery date field and subtracting the order date field. That way I get the number of days. Normally I would take this field and create some bins, and make the size of the bins 1, but I'm going to show why that doesn't work for adding a vertical reference line. I'll drag the bins into the columns, and in the rows I'll type my metric, which is the count distinct of the order IDs. So now we can see the number of orders that falls into each bin. Since I want the reference line to be the average, I'm going to drag the order to delivery field into the marks. Then I'll make this an average. So now if I try adding a reference line, you can see it makes a horizontal line. I'll make this the average order to delivery field and take the total. But you can see it's still horizontal even though it's getting the correct number. And even when I make the bins continuous and try to add a reference line, it's still horizontal. So I'm going to remove these horizontal reference lines. And I'll fix this by creating a calculation for manual bins. I'll type my floor function, my order to delivery field, and divide that by 1. Then I'll multiply this whole thing by 1. This formula just converts the order to delivery into whole numbers. And I used 1 here because I wanted to have 1-day bins. But if you want the size of your bins to be 5, you just change both of these 1s to 5s. So I'm going to drag this manual bins field into the columns instead. Then I'll right-click to make it a dimension. And I'll change the mark type back to a bar. Now when I add a reference line for the average order to delivery, it shows up as a vertical line because this manual field is a true number, while Tableau's built-in bins aren't treated the same way, even when I make them continuous. So I'm going to remove this horizontal line and add some context for this visual. I'll start by dragging the order ID to the marks, and then I'm going to make this a count distinct, and add a quick table calculation so it's looking at the percent of total. Then I'll make this a label, and I'll change the number formatting so it's a percentage with no decimals. To make these wider, I'll use size in the marks. I'll choose fixed, do a width of 1, and make the alignment centered. But I don't want these bars touching, so I'm actually going to change the width to 0.7. That just gives it a little more breathing room. Then I'll add my manual bins to the marks as a color. I'll change this to the average so it matches the x-axis. Then I can use the legend to edit the colors. And I'm going to choose this gradient palette that I loaded in here, but I have another video on how to load all types of color palettes. For the reference line, I'm going to format this so the text is more visible. So I'll make this Tableau medium, change the number formatting to be a number with 2 decimals, and then add the suffix space days, just to give it a bit more context. And for the shading, I'm going to increase it so we can see it even if it's behind one of the darker bars. Adding reference lines to Tableau's native bins can be frustrating, but with this method you get full control so you can show averages, goals, or thresholds right on your histogram.